Fred Blumer was a simple man, and a man of his word. At least he was when he inherited the Blumer Brewing Company in 1918, located in Monroe, Wisconsin, 100 miles northwest of Chicago. But things was never easy as they seem, and soon after Fred took control, Prohibition hit, making his products illegal. Now, Prohibition became a time of gangsters and violence and dirty money, and the sleepy town of Monroe was awakened to this ugly reality. Now, to stay alive, the Blumer's Brewery began brewing non-alcoholic near beer. But business wasn't near the same, and Fred's future was being poured into the gutter. But there was money in supplying the real deal. The mobsters like Al Capone and Gus Sanger, they got into the smuggling game right from the start. And Blumer, well, he couldn't help but follow their lead. And soon, Blumer's simple life got complicated. Well, let's start at the beginning, when business was, still blooming. Deep inside the Blumer Brewing Company, a de-alcoholizer was designed to remove the alcohol from the brewed beer and pour it down the drain in accordance with Prohibition law. Now, Blumer was discarding 150 gallons of alcohol a minute into the Monroe sewage system, and Fred and his trusted employees decided that this alcohol abuse had to stop. A milk can was the perfect cover, and Blumer created a sophisticated lookout system to keep his nefarious operation hidden from the police. But as it turned out, well, the cops were the ones that could have kept him safe.
Straight there and straight back.
Yes, sir. More or less.
If anyone should ask, that's milk.
Does the body good.
Kent, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he could drive a truck and lift the milk can, so Fred had him run pure alcohol to the speakeasies on a weekly basis. A speakeasy was a dubious establishment that served near beer with a twist. All you had to do was speak easy to the bartender, and he'd add a shot of Blumer's pure boiled-off alcohol to your drink. And so, the people of Chicago were drinking Blumer's booze as fast as he could make it. As long as Kent kept bringing moonshine in the back door, Blumer was making money. Well-known Chicago mobster Gus Sanger, he did not like that Blumer was distributing alcohol to his competitors, and he started to see Blumer's little operation as a big problem.
Hey, milkman. Can I help you? Tell Blumer we're looking for him. We'd like to have a little chat about his distribution. Namely, who he should and should not be distributing to. If you catch my drift. Drive safe.
I'll be home in an hour.
The evening of Thursday, April 9th, 1931, changed everything.
Fred here?
Fred received a call from the manager of Walgreens, one of the biggest retailers of Blumer's old-fashioned root beer in the country.
I'll be right down.
What was that all about?
Well, despite being called out late at night by someone Fred had never met, he couldn't pass up the opportunity with Walgreens, and he slammed the door on his wife's concerns.
We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way, Blumer, and I don't care which.
The Chicago mobsters meant business, and more than 100 murders linked to alcohol smuggling activities meant that Blumer would be just another speed bump on the road to destruction. The Walgreens call was a ruse, and Blumer, he should have listened to his wife. Bound and blindfolded, Fred was in for a long ride. As I said, Gus Sanger was a well-known mobster, and he was an associate of Al Capone. He ran a safe house in Chicago, and he had a reputation for not keeping his guests very safe.
Anybody see you?
Yeah. Charlie Chaplin and Mary Pickford.
Gus and Blumer were about to spend a lot of time together.
Time to call Darling Bessie.
It's better than you expected, isn't it, darling?
Probably not, I'm afraid.
I'm sorry. Who is this?
Gus got down to brass tacks right away with Bess and asked for 150 large in ransom.
You must be joking.
Blumer's ransom would be the equivalent of about $6 million today.
You can keep him for 150 grand.
I'll let you sleep on it. I'll call you in the morning.
How generous of you.
$150 grand for Fred Blumer.
Instead of panicking, Bess called up Fred's loyal brother Jacob and asked him what to do.
Jacob, they got Fred and they're asking for some obscene amount to get him back.
What the hell are you going on about? It's 3 in the morning.
Someone's kidnapped him.
What? Who?
You know who, and they're asking for 150 grand to get him back.
Call the police and I'll be over in the morning. When they call again, then we can start bargaining them down.
Fred was isolated for 2 days in a dark, cold room. And negotiations for his freedom were not going well.
What do you mean you don't have the money? Well, how much do you have? 50 grand in a briefcase or something easy to throw out of your truck. If I so much as see the cops, it's lights out for old Fred here.
Jacob and Bess could only scrape together 50 grand. And Gus made a costly decision.
From 150 to 50 grand in 2 days?
You guys must really want to get rid of me.
Jacob's plan was to meet at a gas station and trade a briefcase full of money for his brother. Agreeing, Gus's sidekick went to the gas station early to scout it out and discovered that the police were 1 step ahead of them and they couldn't pay at the pump. Hours later, Jacob was left holding the money bag, unaware that Capone's boys had seen cops. Turns out the police had wiretapped Jacob's house and foiled the plan. The deal was dead, but But the story was alive.
The Sun says we've killed him already.
The papers had turned Fred's kidnapping into a murder, and the manhunt for Gus was on. Now, stuck with a very much alive Fred Blumer and no money, Gus had only one option.
There's nothing here for us but jail time. I'm not going to jail for Blumer. You gonna go to jail for Fred Blumer, Gus? You gonna go to jail for Blumer? I'm not going to jail for Fred Blumer.
It's over! What are we gonna do about it?
What are we gonna do about it? We are gonna do nothing about it. I'm gonna take care of it.
Taking care of things was what Gus's buddy did best. And the quiet town of Decatur, 200 miles south of Monroe, was the perfect place to take care of Blumer for good.
Go on home, Blumer.
I'll see you later.
No, you won't.
Chicago mobsters like Gus Sanger, now they were always full of surprises, but nothing was more surprising than when they let Bootleg and Blumer go without a cent to show for it. However, losing money was not in their plan. A few weeks later, Blumer received an invoice from an undisclosed party for 1 week of room and board, dated the week he was kidnapped. In order to keep the peace and Chicago mobsters out of Monroe, Fred paid $6,000, which is the equivalent of $120,000 today, to compensate his 7 days of room and board with Gus. But soon, the Chicago police, they got tipped off by a woman that Gus had kidnapped and unwisely fallen in love with. Poor Gus. He never knew how to close a deal. He was charged and convicted for robbing a bank at $2.3 million. Was the largest robbery in the U.S. at that time. Gus went to jail for life, and he narrowly missed the death penalty. Back in Monroe, now things were getting back to normal, and the U.S. federal government had come to its senses. The so-called noble experiment, Prohibition, had failed and resulted in more than 12,000 American deaths from poison-like homemade alcohol. No, Blumer, he didn't waste a second. On April 17th, 1933, he had his first liquor shipment ready to go the minute Prohibition ended, making alcohol once again legal. Though the brewery had passed through 3 owners since Blumer, the spirit of innovation and the belief in creating a quality product, no matter what the circumstances, is still alive today.